Okay, quick rhubarb companion planting update. I was not sure any of my rhubarb would survive, and certainly one of the issues was I just had left my rhubarb crowns too long. I put 3 in, they are now all 3 doing very, very well. And let's have a look at those companion plants I put in alongside them in the bed. Now, at the end of this bed, right near my rhubarb, are 2 dill plants, which are doing extremely well. They have exploded in size. I think we're probably, now that it's getting really warm, I'm not sure if that's going to be a concern. We might actually dry some of that dill so that we've got some long term, because it's just going so well, it really does need to be probably harvested. We've got a little, it's not a frangipani, what is it called? Totally lost the name of that. That's just one of those kind of anti-pest plants. We've got some onions in here as well that we've added in. I'm not even sure the type of onions, I've totally forgotten. I must say, while the different varieties of onion as an addition for my rhubarb was something highly recommended, it's not something I paid enough attention to as to what we put in. I think we put in some spring onions, some chives and some red onions, but those just look like the regular onions. We've got some sage in here as well. The sage itself has perked up a little bit. It was looking really, really sad because of the powdery mildew, but it's doing a little bit better here. I moved it from somewhere else in the garden because, again, that was a recommended companion and it seemed like a good idea. Down the end here, we have some perpetual spinach, which is doing really well. I'll give you a look at that in a second, which again, I think in general, kind of the spinaches and again, the name of that family of plant has totally gone out of my mind. But yeah, these are a perpetual spinach and they have exploded. We actually bought 2 different types of perpetual spinach and they're totally different. So this one here has like a spear shaped leaf and the other one has kind of a more traditional kind of chardy shaped leaf, so a rounder shaped leaf. But those are going really well down the other end of the bed. They're not so much of a direct companion for my rhubarb, but we're going to count it. Now, yes, we've moved 1 bed down. We've got another Birdie's Garden bed here. No, they don't match in colour. I am aware of that. One of them was discounted, which is why I picked it up. And you can actually see my perpetual spinaches on the end of the other bed there that are doing really, really well. Now, those are actually probably closer to my other rhubarb plant, which is just here, which is coming along nicely. This, I think, was the best performer of my rhubarbs. It was the first crown to really come up, and it has these chives here. I think that's onion, that's chive, and then I'm sure there was some red onions that I planted somewhere here, but to be honest, I can't see them. Then we've got another big sage here, and one thing I do note now that I've come in for a closer look, there is definitely a caterpillar eating that sage. I will need to keep a close eye on it because in some cases those caterpillars will just take out the whole sage plant, which is a real problem. But the sage itself is growing really, really well. It was a little plant. When we put it in, as you can see, it's exploded in growth. It's much, much bigger. And obviously these onions over here are doing really well too. Even if all the onions around this particular plant have not kept those pests away. And then we've got some lettuce down the end there, which is kind of struggling along. Not sure that that was one of the companion plants, but we added it in later. And yeah, basically, as you can see, this is all going in the right direction. Very, very happy. Obviously, the rhubarbs are still tiny, but as I said, going in the right direction. This was one of those situations which just everything kind of lined up really, really well. I've got my dedicated asparagus garden bed here. And what I was thinking was, what can I put in that's going to be a good companion for my asparagus? And the simple answer to that was strawberries. Now, apparently one of the good companions for rhubarb is strawberries. And so it made sense in this spare corner of the garden to put a rhubarb in, so that I've essentially got kind of like 5 asparagus plants, big asparagus plants in here. I've got my little rhubarb, which this one's going really, really well. And then I've got my 4 strawberry plants as well, which are providing a little bit of ground cover, which will help keep the moisture in the soil. And obviously we've got a combo of plants here which are meant to be pretty good companions. I'm always a little bit reticent with all of the recommendations online, and I do try and cross-reference them from multiple places because sometimes there are very, very conflicting recommendations as to what are going to be a good companion, and there are different reasons. Like in some cases, people who said, oh, strawberries and rhubarb are a good companion is because they are good to eat together. Now, there is a level of logic there, but I'm not really sure that that extends to companion planting. And then in some of the other cases, you know, the companion planting recommendation would be just based on the fact that they have similar, say, nutrient and watering requirements, which that does make a bit of sense. As long as they're not competing with each other, I guess that is a decent, logical reason to companion plant. But generally, when I'm thinking of a companion plant, I'm looking for some pretty significant benefits as to putting them together and them working really well and symbiotically, which may be me thinking too much into it, because there's probably not that much to it in a lot of the cases. But there you go. Really, really good results so far on all of this. And so I'm really happy that we took the time to just do that little bit of research to figure out what was going to go well together, and the results speak for themselves. Not to say that this stuff wouldn't be growing well if we hadn't done that, but obviously that little bit of effort to try and put things that work together is, in my mind, worth it.